Well, I really liked how today turned out, didn't you?
I did, coach. I think it was absolutely necessary. Your instinct to not just say, got it and go, I think was spot on, coach, because I think it was great to hear Shanika kind of process it as well. It helped me process more of what even more than what I thought I understood. But
Well, no one got more out of it than me.
always, coach.
When I went through those notes again, it eye popping. Yeah. Well, what'd you think about that, Professor Bob?
Coach, I was actually doing a how many works seminar for a parish, so I wasn't
Oh,
able to
wow.
be on it.
Well, how about you, Antonio? Yeah, I know you were on. What'd you get out of today's Century Club? You're on mute there.
You to unmute yourself, sir. Yeah.
There now. That's funny. I'm over here talking. No, it was great. I mean, it just lets whenever you come in with a purpose, everything changes. When you have the purpose, it just changes it all. That's what I got.
I love when I tell people my why and why I started a business. And most businesses are not started, hey, let's do this. Maybe we can make some money at it. There's got to be a cause and a purpose behind it, and that people really want to make a difference in the lives of other people, and they want to give them something of value. I'm sure there's some businesses where people make money without bringing value, but they really want to help somebody. And boy, we are the definition of being able to help somebody. And the value that we bring, it's nowhere to be found anywhere else in this country. And once we realize that we are the blessed people that have been handed an honor to be able to change lives at the stroke of a pen. And so when you start getting into it with the depth of that, it almost seems kind of melancholic about it. But until you pay the death claim, you don't know what I'm talking about. Until you not paid a death claim and someone dies and you didn't talk to them. One of the things that hit me last Wednesday when we were talking to Jessica Powers, she talked about how she had a neighbor that her husband wrapped his car around the tree and left a wife and 3 children and no life insurance. And I asked her a question, why does it bother you so much? And she was silent for seconds and said, because I didn't talk to him. Now, we can't go through and realize that in our lives, we generally are not going to have that happen to us, although it's a gift. I've had it happen to me, and you can never get over it. But when I see GoFundMe's, I think we didn't recruit enough people. We didn't have enough meetings. I didn't care enough. I gave up too easily. I took my eye off the ball because there's nothing worse than a family in financial distress and no hope of it any resolve. There's nothing they can do. And until you've been in a home and paid a death claim, until you've hugged a widow with children, until you've looked somebody in the eye and said, it's going to be all right. It's a fantasy to you. You don't get it. But luckily you can put yourself in that position. And I hope you never have to not pay a death claim, especially to someone you know. But also, John, when we go out there and realize that there's a lot of people, we talked today about King Sisyphus. And then she talked about it last week, where King Sisyphus is a mythological figure. I don't remember the whole story. And he did something wrong. And they tried to think of the worst punishment they could inflict upon him. And of all things, think about the worst punishment you can inflict upon somebody. And his punishment was to take a big old round rock, push it up a hill, and have it roll back again and have to do it again and again and again. It's very similar to digging a hole and filling it up and digging it again and filling it up and digging it forever. Well, that's the way I felt when I was at corporate America. I never saw myself getting ahead. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'd get paid on a Friday, write out all the checks, and an hour later I'd be broke again. And then Carol would say to me, "I need money," and I said, "We don't have any more money." And I'd go to my boss. I remember that, and I felt like I was ashamed, because I thought the way you get a pay raise, you ask for one. I was new to corporate America, and went up to my boss, and which is a term I've learned to hate. Boss, yes, boss, yes, boss, and boss man. And he said, "Well, you're not due for a raise. We reevaluate you in 6 months, and then we'll determine whether or not you'll get a pay raise." And I was doing the best I could, and then I realized, Camille, that my pay raise was not given to me. It was based on the union workers' contract and what they negotiated, what they got, I got. Had nothing to do with me. So I could have been working hard, and the guy next to me was not working hard. We both got the same pay. Eventually, that kills your spirit. And I found myself, Kyle, kind of going through the motions. I found myself showing up. I hated myself, because all I thought about is, I can't wait for 5 o'clock to get here. And the thing I really hated, 5 o'clock did come, and I got the biggest sense of relief. I'm out of here. And I'd go home, and it seemed like I would blink, and it would be the next morning, and I was back at something that I was tolerating and not looking forward to, and I started saying, it's got to be more to life than this. I want more out of my life. I don't want to be like this for 40 more years. And when I came here, that's the thing that I found out, is that it didn't have to be that way. And I wrote a booklet about it called The Deception of the Corporate Dream, and you can order it from the company. There's probably 1 million copies sold, of which I get zero income. But it was a love letter to people like me that were meant for more. I don't know why, Mary, but when I was younger, I always had a sense that this life was going to be very quick. I always had a sense that, like Art Williams said, one day they're going to be patting yourself, getting patted in the face with a shovel, and on your tombstone it's going to be dud or stud. And he said, life is just a flicker. Life is just a flicker. And I'm thinking, I don't want to wake up at the end of my life and say, is that all there is? I went to work. I paid my bills. I didn't hurt anybody. I had a nice little home. I did some stuff, but not much. And my kids ended up with student loans, and I had to have Carol work. Carol had to work at a job she disliked with money that wasn't enough to pay the bills. And unless you've experienced the incredible shame of having to tolerate being abused from a superior, and you had nothing you could do about it, but swallow your pride. See, mine wasn't like that. I didn't have a boss that did that to me, but I was in steel sales and I had a customer that did that to me. When I was brand new, I was in steel sales. We were in George Baxley, Georgia. Went to stacked Bax Steel Buildings. Don't forget it. And I didn't realize it at the time. Art was a coach on a football team there locally in Baxley, Georgia. That's where he started out. And I'd go in there, and he was called a purchasing agent, and he bought the steel for the company. And I'd walk in, and excuse my language, he said, "What the hell are you doing here? Get the hell out of here." And that's how he treated me. And he knew 2 weeks later I had to come back. So 2 weeks later, I came back because he was a steel user and I had to show up. That was part of my job. And I walked in and said, is Eddie Upchurch here? Eddie Upchurch. Never forget his name. Yes, I'll tell him who's calling. And I wait there. Finally, 30 minutes later, I come, is Mr. Upchurch in? No, he went out to lunch. He knew I was sitting there, Ray, and he left me. 2 weeks later, I'd come in, and I walked in, and I saw him. He said, "Oh, welcome, Bill. How are you doing? How's your family?" I thought, wow, this is nice. Then we started talking about his steel usage. That's none of your blah blankety blank business. Get the heck out of here and never come back. He knew I had to come back. And as a grown man, John, I was utterly humiliated. And I went to my car and I sobbed. And I had to suck up my pride. I needed their paycheck. I needed that paycheck. Until you've experienced that, you don't know what we're talking about. And I promise you, everybody on this call, you had some experience like that somewhere with a boss, or in my case, a client, purchasing agent, or it might have been somebody that told you, like me, you're not smart enough, you're not bright enough, you got a degree from the wrong college, you got the wrong degree, you're the wrong sex, you're the wrong color, you're the wrong education, you're too old, you're too this, you're too that. I had a guy, one of our guys, he's been in our business for years, and he used to work for Frost Bank here locally. It's a bank. And he wondered, he said, "Why am I not getting ahead in this business?" He said, "Because you don't look like a banker." And he didn't. I mean, he didn't look like a banker, three-piece suit, wingtip shoes, kind of, snappy haircut and all that stuff. The thing I loved about this business, I didn't have to kowtow to anybody. Kyle, if I don't like you, I sit down with you, I say, Kyle, this is not going to work. Thank you very much. Best to you. Bye. If you're a rep in our business and you don't treat me right, I never have to call you. I never have to see you. I don't have to go to your home. I don't have to have anything to do with you if I don't want to. That is amazing. I didn't have to sit there and be something I'm not and hate myself because I wasn't man enough. I was too much of a coward to quit the job. Because you know why I knew that, Mary? Because wherever I went, it'd be the same. Like one guy said, same horse, different saddle. That's a great expression. And so you've got freedom here. And man, do I love it. And we're looking for people that are looking for us that feel like it, like we do. So I came in, I made $17,000 my first 6 months part-time because I was humiliated again by my wife's uncle because I owed him $4,000 and I thought I was going to get a bonus, and the bonus didn't come in, like they never came in because someone was always on strike. It was not my fault. And I had to sit there and tell that man I didn't have the money because we were barely squeaking out in existence. And to come in here and make $17,000 my first 6 months, pay him off, pay off my debts, pay off my credit cards, pay off my car, pay off my furniture bill, have money in the bank, start putting money in the mutual funds, and then get promoted to RVP 4 years later, Mary, and make 180,000. I mean, understand this. It's not today's dollars. These are back in those days dollars. At the steel company, I was making $13,000 a year. My first year here, I made $25,000. Doubled my pay. My fourth year here, I made $180,000. My boss at the steel company is only making $50,000. My next year, I made $240,000. The next year, I made $300,000. My 10th year, Andre, I was a cash millionaire. That's our story. And I can teach anyone to do that. I can teach anybody what I did. And I've had a lot of people do what I did and beyond. Ain't that something? That's the power of this system. And we've got this free. You've already paid your franchise fee, $124. Franchise fee paid for. No more payments due on your franchise fee. Ain't that something? I didn't have to wait for somebody to quit, die, or retire. There was a movie one time called Kramer versus Kramer. It's one of Dustin Hoffman's first movies. If you remember the first scene of that, he was married at that time. He was in the process of getting divorced afterwards. And he was on the phone. I'm sorry to hear that. He was a good man. He hung up the phone and said, Sally, good news. John died and I'm up for his job. You have to wait for, think about that, Andre. You have to wait for someone to quit, die, or retire before you get your promotion. Even in military, Sam, you can't get promoted in the military because you do a good job. There's got to be a slot opening up. And if there's not a slot open up, you can't get promoted. No matter how good a job. Why? There's only so many sergeants. There's only so many lieutenants. I don't care what they say. You're going to get promoted one day. Out of your control. In my definite major purpose statement that I say out loud, I wanted freedom of time, money, and control. And you think about that, and I think the biggest one for me was control. I wanted control. I wanted nobody's thumb on me. But, you know, Andre, also, I wanted freedom. Freedom. Well, I'm free. Oh, really? Don't go to work tomorrow. See what happens. See, in Primerica, you don't have to work tomorrow. I'm not calling you up and saying, I'm going to dock your pay if you don't show up, or did you punch in your clock? Did you come in 1 minute late? My gosh. You know what it is? There's two things that we offer here, John Rogers, and we'll start, Tony. I'm pontificating now. If you don't know what pontificating is, you just witnessed it. Time and money. More time and more money. Camille, those don't go together except right here. You cannot find those two things anywhere except right here. You know, it's like most people, they have time but no money. Most people have money but no time. I know people that make, I know guys make $300,000-$400,000 a year. They don't have any time for anything. They miss all their kids' games or on airplane. I go to the airport. These guys are on the road. But here you can have more time. The more people you have, the more time you have. The more people you have, the more money you have. You want time and money, Antonio? Get more people. Recruit more people. And there's no limit. There's no import requirements. There's no tariff on people. Ain't that something? There's no only so many $100,000 earners. There's no only, Camille, when there's an opening to make $100,000, you're next in line. Or you want to have ownership of something, you can own it here. Do you understand that? And I promise you, Rocky, one day, and I want you to feel how I felt when I sat down with a lawyer. Carol and I met with a lawyer, and we planned out our family trust that we put our business into. So it's in trust. Trust basically means it's an entity unto itself. I pass away tomorrow, Carol passed away, the trust will never pass away. and there's an income to my children and children's children for the next 100 or more years, generations of it. Now, why wouldn't you want your children to have that? Why, Twyla, why is it you don't want your children to have the same freedom of time and money that you have? Why is it, Twyla, you don't want it doesn't bother you that somebody one day is going to have their thumb on your children and then your children's children? Well, he's got a good job. Yeah, right. Just wait. You know what was a wake-up call for a lot of people? COVID. Businesses shut down. Government said no more. Sorry, restaurants got out of business. Sorry. Yet they got their paychecks. Every one of those sons of guns got their paychecks. Ain't that something? And they live happily ever after, and your life works down the drain, and every dime you put into it, gone. Ain't that something? Which means what? There's people in Washington, D.C. that don't have your best interest, and you voted for them. They don't care. They get their paychecks. They need to shut you down. They shut you down. No one. Guess what? During COVID, our income didn't drop $1. Ain't that something? Folks, we've got a story to tell. We've got people that need to be here, and that's why we're having these meetings. And again, I want to thank Tony for all the work she does. But we're going to tell our story. We have 4 pillars that we believe in. First pillar is everyone needs $100,000 of life insurance. Second pillar is everyone needs $300,000 to retire on. Third pillar, everyone needs an extra $1,000 a month. The fourth pillar is everyone should have ownership called RVP and make $250,000 a year. Even if you don't want it, Twyla, at least it's sitting there when you're ready. Ain't that something? And here's our 4 pillars right here. And Tony, why don't you introduce our speakers for this? It's going to be, I got it right here. Cynthia's first, then you, Tony, Camille, and then Antonio.
Yes, sir.
I've got to tell you, Camille, you're going to be speaking tonight. And that's freedom of time and money. What we want you to tell your story about why people should have my why. What's your why? I just went through my why. If you want to know what a why is, Mary Watkins, you just heard it. And how many people are nodding their heads, which means what? I get you. I can feel you. I know what you're talking about, Bill. You see that? That's your why. So Cynthia, Tony, Antonio, and Camille, they're going to be talking about their whys. And we're going to learn now how to create our own why and what is the essence of a why. When we start out our presentations, this is what we say. So Cynthia, you're first.
All righty. Good evening. Coach, your pontification was on point, right? I'm telling you, we got to understand why we do what we do. And one of the biggest things that we talk about, and I mean, it's near and dear to my heart, is that first pillar. And, for most people, it may be commonplace. They may say, oh, this is no big deal. But we tell you that people not only just need any type of insurance, but they need at least $100,000 of life insurance. They need at least $100,000. Why? I had a family who had insurance, and they had less than $100,000. The wife went to go do her grandmother's funeral. She went to go and eulogize her grandmother, and do you know that while she was there, when she got there, she died too? So her mother had to bury her mother and her daughter at the same time. And she had her insurance split up between her husband and her daughter. So they split the insurance. And because they didn't have enough insurance, the husband lost the house. He lost his house. So he was on the streets. because they didn't have 100,000 of life insurance. If they would have had 100,000 of life insurance, he would have been able to pay off his house so he'd have a place to live. Y'all, and y'all, most people think 100,000 is a lot. I'm telling you, it goes so fast. It goes so fast. But we need to get them started. Because what I found out when I was doing some research, do you know there's 68 million adults that have no life insurance at all. 68 million adults. And there's people on here tonight probably said, oh, but I have it on my job. And you know what they're saying? I have 5 times my income. I hear that a lot. This one guy told us that, and when COVID happened, y'all, when COVID happened, he wasn't able to work. And then, you know, he went on a little hiking trip, and on the trip, he died. But while he was off work, they were still taking the premium payment out of they were still paying him. He was still paying his insurance. He was still paying for his benefits. But you know what they said? The insurance company said in the clause, it said you got to be actively working. He wasn't actively working. He was off because of COVID. So guess what, Antonio? They did not pay. They did not pay. So when we're counting on our jobs to take care of our family, they said that's not our responsibility. But experts will say that we need 10 times our income, right? Many people can't meet their needs. So a lot of times what they'll do, Mr. Bob, you know, they'll just walk away and get nothing. If I can't get what I need, Enoch, then there's no sense in me getting anything at all. So having what you need is important, but I just believe that having something, I believe this in my whole heart of hearts, is better than a GoFundMe. Can you feel me on that? Put it in the chat if you think that having something is better than you having 2,500 of GoFundMe, right? Or 1,500 of GoFundMe. That you can't barely get cremated, right? It's our mission. See, we're on a crusade. This group right here, we're crusaders and we die hard. And our crusade, our fight right now is let's destroy GoFundMe. How do we do it? We get an army of people that will join us in that fight, and we won't let no family go without us talking to them about, can I show you what 100,000 of life insurance would cost you? And can I also talk to you about, you know, just having $1 a day? Families get to see, if they have insurance, they get to see their loved ones cared for the right way. Because it's very important to a lot of families. It's very important to a lot of families that, you know, they're taken care of at that last time. But 68 million adults are walking around and they don't have no life insurance. It's probably somebody right beside you right now don't have any life insurance at all. And they're looking they're just sitting looking like they're not talking about me. And they know that if anything happens, my family is devastated. We can correct that tonight. You're at the right place at the right time. Everyone needs 100,000 of life insurance. You know, this may just function as a starter policy for many people, but it might not totally replace your income. But what it does, I love the fact, and I don't know about you guys, but we women, I'm speaking for women, there's a peace of mind that comes at that time when you know that's taken care of. Because there's no peace at that time. When that breadwinner passes away, when that loved one is gone, whether it's a spouse or whether it's a child. I just talked to a grandfather this past week that had to bury 2 grandchildren that were killed in an accident. 2 grandchildren. And it was a while getting it prepared. Guess why? No life insurance. no life insurance. Because they don't need any life. Kids don't need any life insurance, right? Y'all, that is so wrong. Protect what's yours. In one of the most stressful times, it's so emotional. Families don't need a financial burden heaped on their emotional one. So they go to, can you help me out? Can you help me take care of my expenses? Can you help me because something I didn't do, we didn't take care of? So can y'all all come together and help us at least do that little bit? How? I tell you, I'm telling you, my dad, he told us if we begged people for a piece of candy, if we went to somebody's house and asked them for something, could I have? Oh my goodness, you're in trouble. They taught us that early on. And now they're teaching. Oh, I see Sue shaking her head. They taught us that. Don't you ask for nothing. I fed you before you came over here. You ain't hungry. You better not ask for nothing. You don't need no water. Wait till we get out of here. That's how we were raised. But now we're teaching our kids it's okay. Don't worry about it. Everybody else will pitch in and help you. I know I get on this and it just gets me all wound up. It gets me all wound up. See, it's just a simple question. And I need everybody that believes in this. This is just a simple question. And I ask this every day now. Is $1 a day a lot of money to you? And you know the answer. Everybody tells me no. Can I show you what 100,000 would look like? Can I show you what $1 a day would actually purchase for your family? What if you could protect your family and it was only $1 a day or less? Is your family's peace worth that? So I show them. See, it's one thing to tell somebody. It's another thing. It's another thing, Sue, when you show them. Ray, when you show them, Cal, what it looks like. So we show them 100,000 coverage for non-tobacco, male and female, a 15-year term. You look at this chart right here. Can y'all see that from 20 years old all the way to 35 years old, that both male and female can get 100,000 and is less than $1 a day? Rocky, I don't know about you, but you know, we spend a lot as moms. We probably spend a lot on it. We spend way over $1 a day on stuff that we can't even give account for. We can't give account for it. But I promise you, that $1 a day is life changing to families when they need it the most. We have to find it in their budget. We got to show them that they can do it. We got to help them do it. We got to create a package for them so their families can be protected. 100,000. See, like I said earlier, our mission is to protect so many families, get an army of people that we will just eradicate GoFundMe, that we don't even see it advertised anymore. We don't see that anywhere. We don't see it on social media. It's going to say GoFundMe is no longer existent. When, you know how that can happen? When this army rises up, we go get another, like we had a 91, let's go get another 91, right? And get another 91. And that's all customers going and getting 3 and helping them get 3 and doing the math on that. 3 to get 3 to get 3. That's how we live our life. And we got to be focused on that. Who will join me? I'm in this fight. I'm talking to everybody. When I talk to people, I say, I want to eradicate GoFundMe. I don't want GoFundMe to be around anybody that's associated with me. When they tell me they got, let me see if we can help you. Get rid of that before it's too late. Let's get to 100,000. At least that starter policy. But see, I'm a grandmother. And I tell you, when my grandkids came, if you don't have no grandkids yet, it's like, I never thought I could love something more than my own kids. But my grandkids came and I told my son, bro, you've been replaced. Your boys have taken you over your spot. So I'm talking to the parents, but I'm also talking to the grandparents in the room tonight. Because maybe you're good. Maybe you say, you can stand, you can like, yeah, I got 100,000. I'm good. I got more than that. So we taking care of, but what about your adult children? Because I know I got one who He he won't keep no insurance. He won't take it on his job. He ain't gonna get nothing. So if something happens, guess who it's gonna fall on? Me. Not on my watch. So if I got to cover that, I got to cover that. And people say, well, make them grow up, make them responsible. They can be responsible about a lot of things. Look, I ain't paying for his car insurance. You know, I'm not paying for those things. But what I am going to pay for is that $100,000 of life insurance on him, because that's protecting me. And then your college age grandchildren. See, they're in college, they're away from home, they're hanging around other 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You know, they're very irresponsible. And then people like to show out, especially, I have boys, they still, you know, they want to show they got all strong and this and that. And guess what? Something happens. See, you got to make sure that your babies are good. Less than $1 a day, is that worth a peace of mind? Less than $1 a day? I mean, it's like less than almost 50 cents a day, really, for somebody that's young. And you know y'all spend $20. Y'all go out, you can't go out to eat today, one person, and it's not $20. And that's at McDonald's almost. Come on. Whataburger. Y'all know? $20, you do it every day. We're talking about once a month. Sacrifice one meal to protect your family. Let's take a stand, as we did when our children were small. Not on my watch. That's not gonna happen. I need us to rise up and let's join me in this fight. Let's fight for our children. Let's fight for our families. Let's fight for our community. Let's fight for our neighbors. See, we got to go and talk to our neighbors, and we got to ask those tough questions. I don't even talk to my neighbor. I don't go, hey, you got to get out of yourself and think about somebody else. Because financial peace is priceless. Everybody needs 100,000 of life insurance. I said, do you agree? Sam, is it right? I heard your story, Sam. I heard that lady, her husband died because he'd rather go to Vegas than to take care of her. Y'all, we got to make sure that we're gonna fight for other people. And I heard Coach said, you know, we can't just be so quick to throw in the towel, like, okay, I'm not, okay. No, maybe we got to go ask one more time. Are you sure? Can I at least show you this? Because when you do, there's less regrets, Colleen. We don't have the regret because, Rose, we did what we could when we could. 100,000. Tony, I'll turn it over to you.
Right.
Wasn't that amazing? I don't know about you folks, but I started out as a coffee worker. I was a barista. I was never that passionate about coffee. And I make a killer cappuccino, don't get me wrong. But does anybody, like, I was always taught that you work really hard and you're a really good person. You're supposed to be okay financially. Am I the only one who got that lie? Right, Gail? Because I'm be honest with you, if that's the truth, thank you, John Rogers, is hello, roofers, landscapers would be wealthy. But I never made that connection. And so honestly, Kyle, the only thing I could do was just keep working harder and try and be a better person. But you know what's really hard to be? A better person when you're broke, Colleen. It's really hard to be a good person when you don't have the money to even give it to you know how you do the collection place, the old school way, but now you do digital, so it's no shame. But I used to like wrap it up and fold it so my $1 bill would look like a 10. Right? Because you just were so embarrassed, but that was all I had. And folks, that was me. Like I worked 84 hours a week. I had 4 days off a year. I had 3 full-time jobs at one point because I just couldn't make enough, Andre. Jennifer, no matter what I did, I could never get ahead. And I honestly, and here's why I'm not proud of this, folks, but this is the truth. I accepted it. I just thought, Dee Dee, that's just what people like me do. Donna, that people from my zip code, people from my family tree, from my family last name, we work hard and we struggle. Like, you want to know, I could make a full 5-course meal with beans, rice, and I could take 2 chicken breasts and make it feed 7 people. See, folks, this is what I learned. And then I came to a meeting like this and hearing someone passionate like Cynthia, and she's not unusual, folks. We're all love what we do. But I was just like, she is unusual. She's extremely unique. But her passion and what she feels is just, it's a standard, folks, of our company, of what we do. And I was hearing people talk about how they were there to help the underdog, how they were there to help people like me, and that I could help people like me. And I don't know about you folks, but something lit up inside of me, Melissa. I was like, what, Becky? Wait a minute, you mean that I could actually do something and it means something other than making someone not be so tired in the morning? I mean, seriously, this could be something that I could do? Because when I learned what we do, folks, it changed my life. I never thought someone like me could make $100,000 a year. I never thought that someone like me could be a cash cold millionaire net worth. I didn't know any of that guy. I didn't know someone like me could not have debt.
That's right.
Right? I mean, that is where I came from. And when I found out, I saw the light, folks. I realized that you don't need a college education to be good with money. Heck, I stink at math and I can be good with money. And then something lit inside of me. And what happened inside of me, Daryl, is all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can do this for everybody else. Because I don't know about you folks, but if there was a sale, if the freezers at the grocery store completely broke down and they were selling their meat for 1 penny a pound, I would tell everybody I knew. I still do that with gas because I'm Chinese. I can't help myself. If I find a gas station that's super, that one gas station, you're like, what is it, 40 cents cheaper? I tell everybody because that's how I am. And that's what I started doing with this business. That's what I started doing here, folks. And here's the crazy thing. They paid me for it. I got good at what I do and they paid me. Can I tell you the one thing that just blew me out of the water was my first check I got was over $1,000. It was a 4-digit check. I couldn't believe it, Andrew. And I was like, wait a minute, from helping one family? They're like, yeah, you helped the Joneses. I'm like, no, excuse me. They fed me dinner. I sat down with them. I shared some information. I made her cry. The wife cried tears. I'm not talking like, but we're like, tears of joy. I took no extra money out of their pocket. I radically changed their lives. And you get paid this? Folks, that was like a week's worth of work where I had to ask permission to go to the bathroom. And that was like maybe 3 hours of work and they fed me during it. I was like, this can't be real. But folks, that lit me up. Because finally, I had a way out. And then they said this to me, John, the more people you help get out and help them get out, the more money you're going to make and the more people you're going to help. And it blew me away, folks. All that said, you want to really know why I started doing this business? I hoped I could make like $200, maybe $400 extra a month if I worked really hard, because that's what I was used to doing at my job. If I could just make that, folks, I could pay my water and my electric bill in the same month. I could not pay that stupid late fee for every bill that I had. But what I found was a chance to be significant, a chance to be proud of who I am, proud of how I make my money, proud of how the people I can help, that I don't have to just keep it to myself. I could share it with everyone and it was rewarded. Folks, this is why you're here. This is why I was here. This is why I'm here now. Because what Cynthia just talked about, you know what that is to me? Respect and dignity at every phase of your life. And that is why I'm here, to give everybody that opportunity. And if any of that lights you up on fire, you're in the right room at the right time. Because now more than ever, people need us. Coach, that was my why. That's why I got started. And you're thinking in there right now, Gail's going, wow, these people are really excited. You would be too if that's all you did when you woke up in the morning.
We're proud of what we do. We're proud that we found something that we're round pegs and round holes. And we found our reason for being here. Antonio from Oklahoma, what's your story?
Hey guys, how's everyone? You know,
Thank you.
my wife, it's honestly, my wife is pretty crazy. And I say it's crazy because I just figured it out. And I know it sounds kind of dumb because I've been in this business for 4 years. And if it wasn't for you guys, I don't think I would have found it. And when I say that is because, you know, Sunita helped me understand. Because there's this thing that happened 4 years ago that really changed me, and honestly, I didn't even want to think about it anymore. I tried so hard to put it away in a very dark place where it doesn't even come up. But what it did is gave me a story. It gave me a purpose in what we do. See, guys, 4 years ago, my brother was murdered. And it's nuts, Tony. See, because now I truly, you know, I didn't see it, but now I see it. I really see the need of life insurance. I really see how much life insurance really matters. See, I am so convicted about what we do now because I understand now. I see it. See, my brother didn't just die. His income died too. And not only that happened, he left 2 kids behind and a wife. And even though they're taken care of, I see how the woman struggles every day to work 2 jobs. And I wish I would have understood. Because $1 a day for $100,000 would have totally changed my nephew's life. See, John, and it pisses me off that it took me this long to understand. You know, the other day when me and Bill were talking, and he's like, but why? But why? And I was like, Bill, I do have a story, but I've hid it for so long. See, I think in all the darkness, there's light. And my brother gave me a story to tell and to help others. So other families don't have to go through what we're going through. So other families don't have to see their nephews and nieces see them the way we do. And so other people don't have to see wives or widows work as hard. And it really ticks me off, Bill, because in Oklahoma, a lot of people think that you shouldn't talk to the Hispanic community because they're ignorant. They don't want to listen. They don't want to know anything about what you do. That's a bunch of bull. See, the Hispanic community isn't ignorant. They're just uneducated. And it's up to us to educate them. See, there's a lot of things that in my life have made me understand why I'm here today. And another thing that used to tick me off, Bill, about growing up is my dad never let us speak English at home. He'd get so worked up when we would speak English at home. And now I understand why, because guess who gets to help the Hispanic community? I do, because I can speak the language. And I don't ever want to see somebody go through what I've gone through. And I'm just so grateful how I ended up here with you guys, because it has literally changed from being committed to being convicted now. You know, a lot of people have asked me in the past month and a half or 2 months, what has changed in my life? What has really turned my business around? I have a purpose now. See, now I understand what I'm fighting for. Now I understand what I don't want to happen. So yes, $1 a day can change everybody's life. And my brother gave me my why. And I thank him every day for it. And that's the first time I tell that to a lot of people. So everybody has a thing to change and something to deliver. You all have a message. As much as it hurts to say it out loud, say it. Because then you can be relatable to so many people and you can speak from your heart. That is my why.
Well, thank you very much, Antonio. You know, you're going to help a lot of people with your why. People that you don't even know exist today. Well, thank you very much, Antonio. Camille.
Good evening. Whew,
Try to follow that up, right?
for real. Again, one of the biggest reasons we should never keep silent, because you never know. You never know. Coach Bill said it earlier that you don't even know, or Coach Cynthia, someone said that you don't even know the people right around you, or they look beautiful. We've looked beautiful for a long time in different stages of our lives, and we were bleeding. If someone took a magnifying glass and really looked into us, they would have seen that we were bleeding. We were hurting. We were hemorrhaging. We were like the woman with the issue of blood, and we were looking for something, and for so long we couldn't find it. And a lot of times our why is that push, that pinnacle point for someone to actually realize that's it. That's it. If you found a why and you found a reason to get through all the pain, the grief, the suffering, the financial woes, the family drama, the pain, if you found it, surely I can. Okay, you have a degree. That's wonderful. I don't, but I can still do it. Absolutely. And by using our own story, we are making a difference. Um, I um, I have so much to be grateful for, but absolutely the fact that the gift that God gave me, one of them is obviously to speak. That has been known since birth, okay? Because I spoke real early. And I never stopped. And one of the reasons behind that was because I'm supposed to be a messenger. As we all are in this business, we are crusaders, as Bob reminds us all the time. We are crusaders. And if we don't use the gift that we have been given, no, you may not be on the stage in Broadway. Okay, that was a dream of mine too. However, I tell people constantly when they say, "Oh, but you never made it to Broadway." My love, I get to minister every day. I get to be on the stage every day and give someone something that they need. The whole reason I wanted to be in theater is because I wanted to show people themselves so that they can improve, elevate, be better, evolve, and make a positive change in the world. Guess what I get to do on a daily basis, multiple times a day? I'm doing that. And I don't have to do 8 shows on a day, on a Sunday, on Broadway. Okay. I don't have to worry about slipping and breaking all my bones because I'm trying to learn a dance routine. I don't have to worry about, well, we're going to replace you with the understudy because, well, your voice is gone. Well, guess what? I don't have to worry about that now. And the why behind being able to use my voice to speak up, that's one of the purposes I got to discover through this business. I always knew I was meant to speak. I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. I am a mom. Hello. I am in ministry. I have been a mentor since I was a youth. And all of those things led up to this. God has always been able to show us what we were purposed to do. My words, my ability to speak, I'm a writer, I'm a poet, I'm an author. All of those things came together, culminated into the fact that through this business, I am able to make a difference in somebody's life. Everything else I've done is great. All those purposes, those reasons, those things that I did, achievements I've accomplished are all great and wonderful. However, at the end of the day, can I honestly say me doing any of those other things impacted lives the way this does? We are known for doing great things. Our stars on the Walk of Fame as an actress or actor are amazing, but that's not going to get anybody a check when their family has passed away and the income went with it. That's not going to do it. This is the stage of life, the stage that really matters to be able to make a difference in someone's life and say, I understand. How do you understand? Because, like all of us have said, my story, I can tell you exactly what I went through. And not only that I went through it, I came out of it, I'm surviving, not surviving anymore, but now I'm thriving. Why? Because I was able to use what I had in this business. I didn't have to change who I was. Tony didn't have to change. Coach Cynthia didn't have to change. We were called because the mission was bigger than just us. The mission was bigger than just, oh, I'm going to get applause. Oh, I'm going to get a gold star. No, the mission was bigger. I'm actually being able to impact somebody's life. So let me tell you how it impacted mine. Not only was I working in education, which I love because I love children, but I'm working harder than a lot of people and caring with a real heart, doing it for the right reason, and going home exhausted at the end of the day. And looking at my paycheck and wondering how I was going to pay all the things that I needed to pay for as a single mom. And realizing I don't have enough to pay that and get groceries. So going around the corner and sitting in line for 2 hours for someone to put groceries in my car. We're not talking just at COVID. We're talking not that long ago. We're talking about having to make a decision, your shoes or your kid's shoes. Well, the kid's going to win every time because that's the whole reason that my why exists. We're talking about looking in the bank account and seeing zeros and looking at all that stack of mail that is all bills because people don't write letters anymore. So you get something in the mail, it's a bill. Okay. Not, at least not to me. So wondering, what? How do I make zeros cover this? I can't. I was at a loss for words, which never happens. So I had to pray earnestly and say, listen, God, you see, I'm doing everything I can. I'm exhausted. I've had multiple jobs before. I've had to work the graveyard shift. I've had to actually go in and work other people's shifts. Ask them, please, if you need a break, let me take it from you. And so exhausted, I can barely keep my eyes open and still not making ends meet, having to rob Peter to pay Paul and all the other disciples at that. I was doing it all. I wasn't slacking. I wasn't sitting around eating bonbons and chilling and partying. No, my party was take your behind to work, let them act a fool with you. As Coach Bill just said, act a fool with you. You better take it and smile and do what you have to do. Why? Because I had to make it work. But one day, Primerica was introduced to me. And not only was I able to learn how to be better at money, like my sister Tony has said, that's not us. That's not the camp we come from. But not only was I able to learn how to be better with money and help myself and my son for now, for tomorrow, and for years to come, my loves, I'm able to make a difference in lots of people's lives. What? And get paid? What? Are you serious? There's nothing like it. Changing your life and changing others in the process, there's nothing like it. That's why we do ministry. That's why we teach for those exact reasons. And here, my loves, I get to do it all. I am being blessed and I'm being a blessing. That is the mission. That is the crusade. That's the purpose. That's the why. And because of that, I don't have to sit in that line anymore. I don't have to worry about who's going to get shoes. I don't have to worry how am I going to pay all my bills. My rent just went up. And my landlord asked, "Oh, I didn't want to, or you feel bad?" Nope, I'm good. I'm good. You sure? Oh, absolutely. You seem so confident. I have every reason to be. My business is amazing. How about that? So don't ever doubt, don't ever fear, don't fear. Use that as fuel to do what you got to do. The end.
Well, thank you very much, Camille. That was wonderful. I love your heart. I love Antonio's heart and Tony's heart. And now we have John Rogers. John, we want to thank you publicly because you really turned this thing around and helped us so much with your insight at $1 a day and what it can do. And tell us why you came up with that. What's your history there? And people say, "What do you do? What do you do to make money?" I know you love what you do. Antonio explained it. We don't sell life insurance. We arrange one day for a widow to get a check, a big check. You call that life insurance? I don't call it life insurance. I call it death claim money. And one day, everyone's gonna have somebody in their family or someone in their community they know. And we're here, we want to be in that gap for them. So John Rogers.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna talk fast, but y'all listen fast. But I also want to make sure that I grab hearts, as so many of y'all have done tonight. I feel like this is probably the best Tuesday I've ever been a part of, Coach. But the short story is, unfortunately, I have been a part of two instances close to my heart where I didn't pay the death claim. And we talk about paying death claims, and we talk about those times where we didn't pay a death claim. And both of them were, one of them was my best friend growing up from first grade all the way through high school and all that stuff, passed away. And he had purchased his policy and then canceled shortly after because he didn't think he needed it. And the other one was a little bit more recent as our friendship as concerned, but he passed away and he was licensed with us. And the reason that was big was because he's a penny pincher. My friend Larry was a penny pincher, and it was going to cost too much. And so I would be thinking all the time on okay, what's different ways to get across to a person that they need to get something. And when it comes to our faith, and I'm not pushing my faith on any of y'all, but I believe Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. My job is to get people into the house, get people into the kingdom. And somewhere in scripture, it says, be crafty like a snake. So you think of snakes and you think of the devil, but we got to think of ways to trigger a person to do what's right for them. And what's starting to really weigh on me at 41 going on 42 here in a month, Tony, is I truly am starting to feel compassion if I don't help a person move forward. You're right, Coach. When people are is this selling life insurance? I love that question. I hate it. Because by definition, if I get you to move forward and it helps you, I guess by definition it's a sale. But if what Antonio is saying, if we're reaching people and we help them move forward, it protects their family. So when we're looking at it, how can we make the decision easier? Well, let's think about it logically. Is $1 a day a lot of money for most folks? Honestly, Coach, that probably came from the Holy Spirit. It's the one thing, and we're about to toot your horn real quick, but I know all of us in here, when we're speaking, we're did we get Coach Bill? Is he excited about what I said or whatever? You come up with all these great little presentations and he got a stale face, and then you say something like, is $1 a day a lot of money? And it's man, that was it. And so whatever helps a person do what's best for them, I think is what we're here for. And we got to come up with ways to do so. What I'm gonna show them real quick, Coach, is I know you said kind of show a few things is some real life examples. Okay. And we recruit to this business, we recruit to certain crusades because unfortunately, Camille, we talking about GoFundMe's and I saw somebody put GFM, which like basically be mature in your finances. And unfortunately, most of us aren't, most people aren't. So when we're talking about coming and making extra money, people are attracted to making extra money. But if the byproduct of that, because we got your attention now, is you do what's right for your family, that's a win-win. So there's a person that's getting licensed with me. His name's Cam. I ain't gonna give y'all all his little jazz and his information, but he's a single father, 30 years old. I literally was in the middle of doing this last night when Coach called. When I was doing, I was like, Coach called, you got to kind of drop things and like, let's pick it up. But we were in the middle of that. Is $1 a day too much money for you, Cam? No. So real life, he's a single father right here in Texas, 75 grand. It's $1 a day. That's his start. Because if I don't, and I push a little bit here, okay? And the reason I push is because I always remember my friend Larry, my friend Box, we called him Lunchbox. I did not like that conversation when his wife called and said, I heard y'all arguing every single week about he needs to get another policy. Did he ever do it? No, Whitney, he did not. And so Whitney got 10 grand from DISD with their newborn 6-month-old baby, I guess at that point with a new house and 2 other kids, and she had to sell the house and move back in with her parents. All because I wasn't good enough or I didn't at least get them to start something. So when I'm looking at Cam or I'm looking at Kanea, who's a cousin I haven't even gotten to meet really as an older, this is from my cousin who 10 years ago did a policy with me, Coach. And I called her. It's kind of what like Cynthia was saying. Well, now she's a granny. And in our community, a lot of times grannies are like, well, I got to get something on my grandchild or my child because if something happens to her or him, who's going to be the one doing the GoFundMe or trying to come up with money? The people that's alive, the granny or the mama. And I know grannies and mamas, especially in the Black community, they're going to pay for the policies because they're going to be the ones. So $1.70, that's $250,000. Right there in your state, Oklahoma, right, Antonio? So like these things are happening. And last but not least, another licensed agent's with me. He's gotten in a relationship, inherited 5 beautiful kids. Well, now he's a daddy for the most part. So for $1.23 a day, that's 100 grand. That's something he did not have prior to that question of, is $1 a day a lot of money? So to wrap that up, Coach, where's the passion come from? I'm willing to ruffle a little bit of feathers, Kyle, to protect the people that's going to have to clean up the mess that person left behind if they didn't have anything. And that's conviction. I'm willing to ruffle a little bit of feathers if I want you to have your salvation and get into heaven. It's the same thing to me. It's absolutely no different because that's what we're called to do, protect the widows and orphans. And if we can at least get them to start with something, that's better than the nothing and the GoFundMe that's going to end up happening. So I don't know if that's what you want to, Coach, but that's what I got on my heart.
Exactly what I wanted, John. Thank you very much. We deliver. We just don't talk a good game. We deliver. And again, I paid through my business 14,000 death claims and growing 2 a day. 2 people a day are getting a check from our company because I started this business. Thank you very much, John. And now we have Daryl Bonner up in Detroit. Daryl?
Hey, Bill. Now,
we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So you wanted me to go through the same thing that Cynthia did already?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we want your take on it.
Oh, like
we want how you present it.
Ah, okay. You kind of caught me a little off there, but okay. So, well, look, so, so here, so it's, for me, before I got in this business, there was a friend of mine, who we traveled together, we hung out a lot together, and one Saturday morning, I get this phone call, and the phone call. So I just go off and I was like, dude, what are you doing calling me early in the Saturday morning? You ain't never called me this time of the day. What is going on? And I just go on. And I think I must have went on for about 2 or 3 minutes before I stopped, and actually listened. And then when I stopped to listen, I heard the voice of Adam. Adam was Matt's brother, and Adam was calling me to tell me that Matt had died in his sleep from a massive heart attack. And then when I don't when you think you get the worst of it, right? And so the worst of it, or it gets worse. Whereas now Matt was married with 3 children. He had a stay-at-home wife. Matt had no life insurance, and with that, $1 a day. I knew, going back, looking at this now, yeah, Matt had more than $1 a day that he could have spent on life insurance. We were together all the time. We traveled. I knew he had money. You're looking at it now, right? And so it's the things that we in the moment that we think are that we want to spend our time on, or we want to spend our money on. But here was the reality check. Before they even put Matt in the ground, his wife was packing up the house to move back, to leave Michigan, to move back to Ohio to live with her parents, because she was a stay-at-home mom. She couldn't afford it. She couldn't afford the house note. She couldn't afford the bills. She couldn't afford to put gas in the car to take the children back and forth. All of that came to a straight screeching halt when Matt passed away. And when you talk about $1 a day, yeah, so $1 a day versus the alternative. And I think, part of the challenge in society now that everybody believes they're going to live forever and nobody's ever going to die. And just at that time, Matt was in his mid-30s, right? Mm-hmm. That he was in his mid-30s. Yeah, he didn't think he was going to die either. Well, look what happened. So is $1 a day too much? No, $1 a day is not too much. Okay, sorry. So the difference it would have made in Matt's wife's life if he had spent $1 a day. And trust me, Matt could have spent $20 a day. But he didn't. So there are 2 major pushes. The major push is having enough people to touch enough people, to connect with enough people. Everybody that's touched and connected, make sure they're spending at least $1 a day. That would be my response, Coach.
Well, thank you very much, Daryl. And Tony, you got 8 minutes to do. We're kind of cramping you, but Tony, you got 8 minutes.
All right, Coach, because here's the thing, folks. If you don't realize that what we do is great, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. We're good. Just, you can leave now. But if any of this sparked you, if any of this was like, this is the right thing to do, hear the stories of success, hear the stories of regret, and know that no one else steps in but fixes it but us. But here's one thing I did know, folks. I was used to always helping other people and never being able to help myself. And honestly, I said this in the beginning, Coach, but making an extra $1,000 a month was a rescue plan for Tony. Because what did that mean? I mean, I could pay my water, my electric bill in the same month. I could actually get ahead of my bills. I could actually, I don't know, go out to dinner and not feel guilty about it. Like actually buy a gift for somebody instead of having to make a homemade something because you couldn't afford anything else. But how do you make an extra $1,000 a month here? Well, just ask the question. You've heard it all night. Is $1 a day a lot of money to you? Just ask, text it to 2 people a day. 2 people a day. That will take you all of 4 minutes, 2 people a day. Hey, can I ask you a quick question? Rando question. Is $1 a day a lot of money to you? And they're all going to say what? No. Because it's not, folks. And you go, great, can I show you how you can get an extra $100,000 of life insurance for like $73 or less than $1 a day? And then you wait for them to answer. This is what we do. And you've already seen the chart. This is a real question, folks. This is real help. But understand, we already know that 1 out of 3 married people that you send this text to are going to go, yes, I want to do at least 100,000. 100,000 really is kind of beginner policy. Most people can find at least $2, $3, or $4, like Daryl talked about his friend. So if you talk to 6 people a week, 2 are going to become customers. You do 6 texts in a week, 2 are going to become customers. Folks, at the beginning, part free time, that's going to pay you $960 a month. But here's the key, folks, and I want you to hear me. I could never just do this for me. It blew my butt out of the water how much I made. But I actually had a chance to share with the 5 friends that I love the most. You all have 5 friends that you love, that you always swore, like, dude, if I ever get the lotto, if I get the Powerball, man, you're with me. Or if I ever find that thing, if I could buy that McDonald's at 6,000 like they did in the 50s, honey, you're with me. You give them a chance to change their life. Think about what an extra $1,000 would mean to you. Camille, no more food bank, not worrying about the shoes. I mean, guys, this is earth-shattering money. So you give your 5 friends a chance to do that? Do 2 texts a day? Help 2 clients a week? A month? Folks, they make their 1,000, and because you help them do it, you make an extra 1,000. Do you understand that you solve the #1 problem that everyone has in their life? I don't have enough money. And to be honest with you folks, when they say $1 a day is a lot of money to me right now, you know what I say? You really need to talk to me.
That's right. That's right.
Because if you can't afford $1 a day, then you really need to be helping other people do $1 a day, folks, because the 4 pillars work. And I'm just going to end with this, folks, because I want you to see this. I need for you to feel this. I live in McKinney, Texas. It's just north of Dallas. It's a town of about 150,000 people. This is the GoFundMe only for memorials, only for funerals in my zip code. Is $1 a day a lot of money for these people? It wasn't. But the challenge is, we didn't ask. There was enough of us to ask that simple question. And in truth, folks, that's why you're here tonight.
There's about what the average of 1,500 per zip code, isn't there?
Yes, sir. This one's over. I stopped looking after 1,900, Coach.
1,900 requests for money because of memorials.
In the last 5 months, Coach.
Look at that, $100 raised.
Mm-hmm.
150, 250. Think about that now. How do you think a widow would feel if all she can raise is $200, $300? How would that make her feel?
Coach, it's a slap in the face because you already feel unloved because the universe took away your person, your love. And then to realize that the community doesn't love you enough either. Coach, you know I've sat down with widows in my community because of church. And let me tell you right now, folks, you know what those 14,000 checks that Coach's businesses delivered? Those were 14,000, thank God he loved me. Those were 14,000. Praise God. It's a relief. You know what they cry? They cry, not because they missed the man, not because they missed the love, because they're relieved that they finally got a cure. They finally have an exit that they didn't know was even going to exist from the hellhole that they're in right now, every day, every moment, because the universe took away their love. Whether it was a child, a husband, a mom. And when that happens, you have no light. If you want to be the light bringer to people at their darkest time, join our cause. Let us show you how this works. Let us work it for you. We have crusaders like Allison. We have crusaders like Jennifer who are out there working it because why? They believe in it. Let us do it for you. You don't even have to do the talking. We'll do it for you. The need is too great for you to turn away if you have a heart to help others.
You know, Tony, what I want people to do, how do they do it? How do they pull up their zip code to find out and see? We want them to really do some homework and pull up your GoFundMe in your area by putting in your zip code, right?
Yes, Coach, you do filters. And filters you can put in your area. You can put the category of funeral. And you can do it by time periods. You can do it however you like. But just do those two things. Put your street or put your zip code and put the word funeral. That's the only two categories I have here, folks. And that's what we have. And read the stories. They didn't see it coming. Unexpected bills, overwhelmed, crushing debt, crushing expenses. Help them with a memorial. Help them with cremation. Coach, there's a story here of a young girl. She died at 14. She told her dad at 13 she wanted to be cremated. That's the story he put on the GoFundMe. He is asking for $1,275 as a down payment for cremation for his 14-year-old daughter. $1 a day is not a lot of money. But $100,000 of life insurance gives you respect and dignity at the one time you have nothing. This is what we do. This is what you need to do. If this hurts your heart, if this is like, gosh, these people are passionate, I want something like this too. If you ever wanted to mean something, do something. Call the person right now. Call them right now who invited you here tonight. Do not wait. Because I'll tell you right now, the next distraction is going to take you away from this, and we will never call you again.
And again, I made $17,000 my first 6 months, feeling that my friends needed to hear this. Isn't that something? You make money by making other people's lives better. Because I don't want to be in the insurance business. We're not in the insurance business. We're in the protection business, and we're in death claim paying business. And I paid a lot of them, folks. When a friend of yours dies and you give them $300,000, your life changes. you're never the same again. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Tony. That was spectacular. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Daryl, and thank you, John Rogers. Thank you very much for really giving us a great lesson today on caring and compassion. All right, everyone. We have a Saturday training, 9 o'clock, regular Saturday training. We'll all see you here then.